Rare wins, near misses and coaching changes. And it's only round 2 of the URC. My name's Mark, let's talk rugby. First up in round 2 was Zebre 37, Sharks 42. Zebre almost pinched this one at the end, but they had a try chalked off. I've got a full roundup of this particular game on the channel as well if you want to check that out. Sharks though are going to be happy. Away from home, first game of the season, and they come away with a bonus point victory. Next up then was Glasgow 52, Cardiff 24. Pretty comprehensive win for Glasgow. Going into the game, Cardiff probably would have seen this as an opportunity for them, especially given what happened last week for both of these teams and Glasgow's poor form at the end of last season, but it wasn't to be. Next up then, you had Leinster 42, Benetton 10. So the news came out this week about Stuart Lancaster is going to be leaving Leinster and going to Racing at the end of the season. He's certainly going to be missed in the province. He's been a bit of a revelation for Leinster in terms of re-establishing the team, not just in the URC, but in Europe as well. So definitely going to be someone that's going to be hard to replace. For this game though, Leinster kind of struggled against Zebre last week, but lots of changes with a lot of first choice players coming back, and it was a pretty easy one for them in the end against Benetton. Scarlets 39, Ulster 55, 12 tries in all in this one. Scarlets made a game of it early on, but Ulster had the quality to pull away in the end. Kind of reminded me a little bit of a Super Rugby type game with so many points on the board, but at least there was, some doubt about the outcome for a lot of the game. But as I said, Ulster just had that little bit extra towards the end and were able to stretch away. Bulls 33, Edinburgh 31. Edinburgh almost delivered a famous win in South Africa, but Bulls were able to snatch it right at the end. They'll be very happy with that. Two teams who have started the season pretty well, and they'll both be looking to take positives out of this and move on from here. Stormers 38, Connacht 15. Defending champions, kicking their season off with a fairly easy win at home against Connacht. Connacht's defensive woes continue, and it's something they need to sort out or they're going to be propping up the table for most of the season. Ospreys 27, Lions 28. Lions are the weakest of the South African teams, and they'll be very happy to snatch an away win there in Wales. Ospreys got to do a bit better at home, really, against a team that they would have felt that they were going to beat. Dragons 23, Munster 17. Dragons get a first home win in 17 months, so pretty rare for the home fans to have something to celebrate there against a Munster team who are really trying to find their feet under a new coach. Speaking of coaches, Di Flanagan had to step up this week. Dean Ryan stepped away from first team duties following his scathing comments about the players after the first round defeat. And if Di Flanagan can keep this going from now on, maybe he is the man for the job to lead this team forward. Let's take a quick look at the table now. So we've got Ulster and Leinster at the top, both with maximum points from the first two games. Ulster ahead on points difference. Third then we've got the Bulls, 2 wins from 2 from them, and they're looking pretty good so far. Next comes Edinburgh, who are leading the way for the Scottish teams. 5th place then are the Stormers, the defending champions. They've only played the 1 game so far though, so they'll be looking to climb that table as the rounds go on. Glasgow in 6th, a bit of a mixed bag for them in the first couple of rounds, but they'll be glad to be down the sharp end of the table. Sharks then in 7th, like the Stormers, only the 1 game so far and the 1 win. Will be looking to climb the table as it goes on. 8th place are Benetton, and if they can hang on to that final playoff spot for the end of the season, they'd be delighted. In 9th we have the Lions, the weakest of the South African teams, but they're still up there in the mix. 10th are Cardiff, the first of the Welsh teams. Like all the other Welsh teams, they'd be looking for more consistency this season so they can challenge for those top 8 spots. 11th are the Dragons, bit of a lofty position for them, but they'd be looking to sustain that and prove some doubters wrong. 12th then are the Ospreys. Not an amazing start to the season for them, but they've got something to build on. 13th is a vast improvement for Zebre, who normally are down the bottom in 16th. But if a couple of things had gone their way, even a little more in the first 2 rounds, they could have been a lot higher up. Definitely much improved this season, and they'll want to keep away from that bottom spot. 14th are the Scarlets, the bottom of the Welsh teams. They'll definitely be looking to climb that table in future rounds. Another team looking to progress up the table is going to be Munster. They're not used to being down this end of the table, but results don't lie, and they need to improve if they are going to start climbing. In 16th spot are Connacht, winless and pointless after 2 games. Defence is just not good enough. Until they improve that, they can expect to be down here. Now look ahead to round 3 fixtures. First up on Friday, the Bulls versus Connacht, 3rd versus 16th. Into Saturday then, you have the Stormers versus Edinburgh, 5th versus 4th, the bottom of the table after this one. That's followed then by Ulster-Leinster, 1st versus 2nd. Ulster really will want to put down a marker here in this one and prove that they can cut it in the big games. Leinster, meanwhile, will want to claim that top spot if they can. On Friday then is Cardiff versus the Lions, 10th versus 9th. 2 mid-table teams, but one of them could turn a decent start into a good start with a win here. Both teams have started well, and a win for Edinburgh would be amazing. A win for the Stormers would put them back up where they feel they belong. That's followed by Ospreys versus Glasgow, 12th versus 6th. Glasgow, mixed start to the season. They'll want to put the first round behind them and continue the form up last week. Munster versus Zebre, 15th versus 13th. So Munster would have been looking at this one as almost a gimme at the beginning of the season. But Zebre's performances in the first 2 rounds say that this might be a bit tighter than they were expecting. And Munster looking for their first win of the season. It's not going to be a gimme for them. Next we have Benetton versus Scarlets, 8th versus 14th. If Benetton are serious about being, more competitive this year, then this is the kind of game they should be looking to win. Final game of the round then is Dragons versus Sharks, 11th versus 7th. Dragons had a decent win last week against Munster. Sharks will be looking to win on the road for a second week in a row. That's the end of our look ahead to this week's fixtures. How have your team started the season, and how do you think they're going to go from here on out? Let me know down in the comments.